If you are into multitasking and want a night on the couch with some gosh darn peace and quiet while still watching a movie, then Azrael is definitely the one to watch. It has silent cults, creepy forest monsters, and is basically a quiet place, but without all the context and obvious plot if you do not already know the religious story of Azrael. But if you do, then you still have to wear a tinfoil hat to kind of understand this one. Welcome to First Time Watching. Please like and subscribe as we dive straight into the explanation. Many years after the coming of the rapture, a group of survivors has renounced their sin of speech. Azrael is making a bracelet for her boy toy, but when she returns to him, he made a fire. She quickly douses the fire, as if she is afraid someone will find them. He tries to calm her down, as if to let her know they are going to be okay. And after she calms down, and they suck face, she gives him the bracelet, but they hear whistling, so they start running because someone is coming. They decide to split up to make it harder to find them, and Azrael starts running as far as she can. But the people who were whistling caught up to her and capture her and her boyfriend. They load them in the back of their cars and drive towards, another place in the woods. Can't describe it different, but they are in a big freaking forest, okay? More people are waiting for them there. One of the creeps holds her head backwards, revealing a scar in the form of a cross in her neck. The female who is waiting for them cuts Azrael's leg, and as she starts to bleed, the winds pick up. Something is coming. The group turns around and wait for it to be done from a distance. They are both nervous and excited at the same time. A black bipedal creature approaches her through the woods and lets out a deafening howl. Azrael pulls on her binds as hard as she can and manages to break loose. One of her capturers notices her escape attempt and runs towards her to try and tie her back up, but she stabs him in the neck with the broken chair and pushes him towards the barbecue boy, who nibbles a bit on his neck. His buddies were turned around for the ritual, so they did not see what happened. But when they do turn around, Azrael is missing, and the charcoal chump is pulling their fellow cult friend further into the forest. They are flabbergasted, which wastes enough time for Azrael to get a good head start. Azrael arrives at a river. She can wash the blood off of her leg and use the noise it makes to fly under the radar. She worries about her sexy Superman who got taken as well. She wonders if he is okay, while she uses leaves to patch up her wounds. One of the limping, burned boys walks towards her. She quickly hides inside an old structure and manages to make him lose her scent. Now earlier, the guys who captured her also had a scar in their necks in the shape of a cross, just like her, which probably means they come from the same place, a place that she'd rather not be at anymore. But because she is from that place, she knows how to get to their camp. She wants to know what happened to her eye candy. Azrael walks around the camp's DIY fence and sneaks in. She hits her head on a bucket, which spooks one of the guards, but he thinks nothing of it. And then she stumbles upon a prisoner pole. On the ground next to it, she finds the bracelet she made. The cult's leading lady arrives, and she is pissed because her ritual was ruined. She goes to check on some of the village's elders, and then makes her way towards the church. She walks into an ongoing sermon led by a pregnant lady standing in front of an ominous crack in the wall. They are all listening to the wind that blows through this crack while they admire the lady's Jesus art. But the service is over, and the prego lady wants to have a one-on-one with the woman who botched their sacrificial ritual. The pregnant woman slaps the other one, and then they hear a sound outside. Azrael is hiding under the church and waits for the woman to leave, but just when she feels like she might get away with it, the woman appears and crawls towards Azrael at top speed. She starts choking her, but Azrael pushes her off and kicks her in the face. She then makes a run for it to try and escape the camp, but the woman already got up and sounds the alarm. Azrael tries to find a way out while the cult people run at her. She crawls through the fence just in time. One of them fires a gun but just misses as Azrael runs deep into the forest. She's exhausted, and the sun is going down. Without paying attention, she leaves a trail of blood because she cut herself while escaping the camp's fence, and the crispy guys appear to hunt her. But she manages to outrun them and walks onto a road. A car almost drives over her. A man gets out of the car, and he can speak. She doesn't understand a word, but she gets in because she hopes he can take her away from all the madness. He looks friendly enough and gives her a rag to patch up her bloody knuckle. The man tries to have a conversation with her, so she shows him him the scar in her neck. I assume they remove the cultists' vocal cords when they are still young to make sure they are not able to speak. But Azrael never expected there to be people left who could make sounds that make sense. Too bad her newfound friendship is short-lived, because one of the cult members lands a headshot on her new friend. The car is still driving at top speed. They hit the cult guy and then crash into a wall. Azrael stumbles out of the car and falls to her knees. The guy that shot the driver comes crawling towards her, so she goes full John Wick on his ass. But the cripple guy had some fight left in him and knocks her to the ground. She crawls towards the gun, but he grabs her and starts choking her. She manages to bring the gun up to his face and decorates the forest with his brain particles. Now she is armed, and she wanders through the pitch-black forest when she stumbles upon her boy toy being tied up near a campfire. She steps into a trap and is now dangling upside down and drops the gun. One of her old cult buddies shows up and hits her boink buddy in the face with her gun, but the wind starts to pick up, so he gets distracted. Azrael tries to climb up to free herself, but cuts her hand even more, and blood starts dripping down onto the ground. A couple of crispy boys show up and rip off Cult Boy's head and suck the blood out of his detached head. Azrael managed to climb up the tree, but her boo is still down there. The burned brigade is back. One of them eats her boy while the other climbs the tree to catch her. She pulls up the rope in which she was trapped, wraps it around the crisp's neck, and jumps from the tree to hang the burned bastard. Now that they killed her bumping buddy, she is really annoyed. She picks up the gun and makes her way back to their camp. As she used to be one of them, she knows exactly how they operate. She approaches the camp and whistles. The cultists whistle back and run into the forest with torches and guns. Azrael sneaks past them and makes her way into the camp. She used their own tactics to lead the main forces away from the camp. She makes her way straight to the church and finds the preggo lady standing there drawing on the walls. Azrael hesitates, and the pregnant woman uses that moment to smack the gun out of her hands. She grabs a skillet and knocks her out. As Azrael falls, she scratches her belly. The cultists drag Azrael away to an open, empty grave in the forest. The winds start picking up. They rub blood all over her face and throw her in the coffin and then close it. They bury her alive, but then a hatch opens near her feet. She starts crawling into a tunnel. After a while, she runs into one of the burned brigade. He crawls closer, and Azrael crawls as fast as she can back into the coffin. The burning man crawls on top of her and sniffs her fingers. Under her nails is the blood of the pregnant lady, and the cinder man shares a vision with Azrael, a vision of the dark crack inside the church. The paintings the pregnant lady made, as if she is expecting to give birth to the Holy One. But then she sees the vision burning down. The crispy man crawls away from her, as if her job is not yet done. The cult dudes go back home, back to their sad, silent lives. But Azrael used that time to escape her coffin. She is the one resurrecting today. The pregnant lady is fixing her wound when she and her second-in-command notice that one of their tents is burning down. They run outside and they all try to save their home, but it's burning down quicker than they can put out. Meanwhile, Azrael uses the mass panic to shoot the cultists. They all die in a rain of fire and bullets. One of the cult guys picks up a gun to make a stand against Azrael, but she runs around the camp and whistles to confuse him, and then he shoots the first person that moves, which is friendly fire. Azrael runs at him and cuts him down with a machete. After killing everybody, she walks back into the church, and this time she won't hesitate. The pregnant woman appears behind her with a cleaver and tries to kill Azrael, but Azrael overpowers her and bites her in the neck. She stumbles away when her water breaks. The second-in-command walks in with a shotgun and shoots like a stormtrooper. Azrael manages to dodge all her bullets and strikes back when she is distracted by her boss giving birth. Azrael picks up the cleaver and jabs it into her neck. The pregnant lady gave birth, and we hear a baby crying or goat sounds. The previously pregnant lady crawls backwards in horror and picks up the machete. She slits her own throat. Outside, the winds are picking up and an army of crispy boys is closing in. Azrael walks towards the baby to see the ugly little bastard. The Crispies walk into the church to meet their newborn buddy, and the little bastard is actually kinda cute. Yeah, he is clearly demon spawn. He looks like a goat baby hybrid, but come on, you have to admit he's cute. And now it makes sense that if you think you were going to give birth to the embodiment of Christ and instead you give birth to little goat boy, you are disappointed. But she could have given him a chance, right? Azrael smiles while holding the baby and looks at her new army. And that's a wrap. Not to dive too deep into religion, but Azrael in religion is the angel of death, and boy did she bring it in this movie. Now I believe this movie is definitely not for everybody, but if you are into doing a little bit of digging for the story, like gore that is actually well done, and constant action, then Azrael is a great movie. In my opinion, the Crispy Boys were a letdown. They could have been cooler, but then again, the movie is modeled after the Rapture, and there are multiple versions of the Rapture in religion, and I believe the cultists in the movie thought they had the happy, godly rapture going on, and they were the chosen believers that were granted life. But the crack in the church was a direct crack leading to the underworld, created by the Rapture, just like the Crispy Boys, who had demons coming up from hell, because instead of there being a portal to heaven, the Rapture in this movie made a portal to hell.